Hi, I'm Jennifer Bilbrey, and this is On Our Minds, a podcast and vlog about psychotherapy in Austin, Texas. Today I'll be interviewing Adam Maurer, a psychotherapist in Austin, Texas, who specializes in working with the LGBTQ+ community. We're going to be talking about how he works with this population and specifically about how politics and culture affect this population and his work with this population. Let's change the tone.
Yeah.
This question is not so inspiring, but I think it's important to talk about that concept of internalized homophobia.
Oh, yeah. So I want to say that there is a lot of internalized phobias that people can have.
About anything.
Yeah. But specifically in our community, this idea that like you have to hate yourself, that happens as a survival technique, right? So you're little, you realize you're different, and that difference challenges love, food, shelter.
Yep.
So then you learn to try to hide or get away from that piece of yourself. And you end up having to hate it just to survive. Now, as you grow into adulthood, if you have some healthy attachment, you learn to get secure and you go into that piece of yourself and you learn to love it and you let it flourish. Some people have a really hard time getting there. And so you have folks who have just a large amount of toxic shame just about who they are. And the way you'll see it in your office is you won't be able to offer them any sort of negative sounding feedback or any sort of critique.
Challenge.
If you challenge them, it's just too much. And those people might sit there and be really polite and smile, and then you'll never see them again. They're just like, too much.
Yes. So one of the things you were mentioning earlier is that you like to approach it from a psychoeducational lens, which I can see now that you're talking more about it, helps take the personal piece out of it. Like this is just something that happens to all of us, and we all need to be aware of this idea.
I break it down that like what's really common for our tribe is, and then I'll talk about the things that my hunch is telling me is going on, and then I see how they respond. So if they can connect to it, cool. They're aware and maybe just need some more rapport as we work on helping them talk about it openly. If they can't connect to it, then I know it's something to come back to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, mental note, not ready.
And if you get that idea that they're not ready, then what I hear you saying is you also connect that to not being ready for other challenges.
It's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, like if you have this huge thing of shame inside of you, anything else that feels like shame is just too much. And so it just is icky and gross. And those folks usually just need someone just to really be super person-centered and just reflective, and I'm here with you. Joining.
Adam, that's making me think about how with that much shame in the room, how easy it could be for you as the therapist with this personal history, and how much work you have to do on yourself not to join them in that shaming place, to go to the place of, I hate myself.
I feel bad.
So I feel bad.
I often tell folks, I'm like, this is not something that happened overnight.
Yes.
this is 15 years.
A lot of money, a lot of tears.
She's worked it out. Usually it actually looks like this. So my office is very colorful, very sparkly and femme. Some golden girls, it's beautiful. And folks who are uncomfortable with some parts of themselves usually it will come out in how they talk about my office. So
that makes sense.
It's too challenging to think that here I am sitting looking like a cis male, even though I'm genderqueer, and I have like a pink sequin cushion on my couch. So it's easier to talk about their own discomfort with that than what's going on with them.
Adam, probably most of the people watching them are going to know what you mean by cis male and genderqueer, but can
help
you
them out? Sure.
So
being cisgender is when your gender identity aligns with the gender you were assigned at birth. So if you were female.
If you had female parts when you came out.
And they said you are therefore female and feminine, and you identify with that, you're cisgender. anything outside of that, there's a whole array.
Yeah.
So for me, genderqueer means I recognize that I have masculinity and femininity within me.
Yes.
And they're actually kind of flipped from what our society has said their roles ought to be. So my feminine side is the one who gets shit done. She's the badass bitch. She's the one who stands up for justice. And then my masculine side's like the nurturer and like the creative, like little artist, and like the part of me that tends to others in this like loving, caring way. So I love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because it's just a different way of being. It's honoring the fact that like, oh, I have all this in me.
Yeah.
All these resources. Why not use them?
Yeah.
There's times where I have to be bold and times where I have to shut my damn mouth. So I need access to all those. Yeah. My husband would never agree. But it's just that is really useful.
Yeah.
And what's cool about genderqueer too as a term is it's even like a political term, which is kind of just like, I think of it as like punk. Like you're just pushing against the notion that there's only two genders and you have to fall into one of these boxes or else you're somehow broken, which is malarkey. But.
Yeah. So having said all that, I can imagine that you talk openly about that idea, that fluidity and that spectrum idea with clients.
Sure.
We're all on somewhere on that spectrum, every single one of us.
And I'll get into it with them.
Yeah.
So if someone's coming in and exploring their gender, I was like, cool, what if we did our nails together?
Oh, great.
Yeah, so we'll do just like experiential activity.
Oh, great.
And oftentimes it's the first time they've been able to explore something like that with another person.
Yeah, sure.
And that's really exciting.
Powerful,
yeah.
yeah.
You get to talk a lot about it. So it's just a really cool way to like connect with people. Yeah.
This was On Our Minds, a podcast and vlog about psychotherapy in Austin, Texas. Learn more and see more episodes on my website at www.jenniferbilbrey.com.